Hi everyone, Matt here from Proof Fly Fishing. In today's video, I'm going to show you a couple ways to remove a reel seat from a fly rod. The first method is going to involve using a heat gun, but if you don't have a heat gun, we're going to show you a second method, which is just going to be to submerge it in boiling water. So why would you want to replace or remove a reel seat? There's quite a few reasons. It could be damaged if you have an older rod or rod that's been misused. Maybe you don't like the reel seat. Maybe the design's a little too modern for you, or it doesn't fit the reels that you have. Also, another reason, a lot of times companies will, in commercial rods, they'll put up-locking reel seats on everything, and maybe a down-locking reel seat will help balance the rod a little bit better. So, any number of reasons, but the approach to getting them off is going to be the same, whether you're working on, an 80-year-old bamboo fly rod or a rod you bought yesterday that you just want to switch the seat. So I'm going to fast forward the video as I kind of go through this process because it's a little boring as it comes up to temperature, but I'm going to set a timer so you kind of have a sense of how long this takes with the two methods, and we'll go from there. So a couple things to have in mind. First, all you're going to need is obviously the rod and something to hold that reel seat with. I'm just using an old towel here, and I'm going to use that to kind of grip the seat once it comes up to temperature. So we're going to get started with the heat gun now, and I'll let you know the time afterward, and then we'll do the water approach too. Okay, it's been a little over a minute, and I can feel the epoxy starting to loosen, but it's not quite there yet. So we're going to give it another, 30 or 40 seconds. Okay, it's been just over 3 minutes, and that reel seat's coming off. You can see the epoxy's kind of been broken down by the heat. Also, a couple things, don't touch that because it's going to be extremely hot for quite a while. If you notice, by rotating the rod, I can keep it very close to the heat, and I won't damage the cork. If you leave it in one spot too long, you can actually create a little burn mark on the cork on the back of your grip, so be careful for that. Otherwise, I'm using just a soft twisting motion to get it off. You don't want to torque it because you can risk damaging your blank if you do that. But you can see this epoxy is just crumbling underneath there as it comes up to temperature. One other thing, in this particular reel seat, the front hood that is usually recessed in the cork on an up-locking reel seat came off with the rest of it. That doesn't always happen. That's kind of the best case scenario. Sometimes you'll pull the insert and the threaded hardware off, and that front hood will be kind of stuck in the cork. So what you want to do then is make sure it's still up to temperature and grab needle nose pliers, and you can just gently wiggle that off, and just be careful not to break that outer cork edge. Okay, now I'm going to switch over. I'm going to bring some water up to temperature, and I'm going to show you another method in case you don't have a heat gun. Another thing that works too, if you have an electric range in your kitchen or a portable range for like camping, you can use that as well. It takes a little bit longer just because the heat's not being kind of blown in the direction of the reel seat, but that'll work as well. So, all right, we'll see you in just a minute, and we'll show you the boiling water approach. Hi everyone, we're back. I have a pot of water here that's close to boiling. So I'm going to show you how to prep the reel seat for this method. It's a little bit different than before. And again, if you don't want to save the reel seat you're taking off, you don't have to take these precautions. It's primarily for like a wood insert, and this will help keep it from swelling once you put it in the boiling water. So we're going to use a plastic bag. We're going to put the reel seat in and kind of tighten it around the grip. And I like to use a rubber band just to kind of hold it in place so I don't have to worry about it later on. Another thing too, which is nice, if you're using a pot that you're going to use for cooking later on, it's nice to have that plastic barrier to, in the event that something gets leached into the water. So up to you if you use that or not. Let's see what we have going here. So we're very close to a boil. We've got a soft boil going on. And all I'm going to do is submerge this in the water. And I'm going to set a timer again just so we have a rough estimate of how long that's going to take. And you can just kind of let it sit there. It doesn't really make any sense to move it around too much because the water's surrounding it. I'll fast forward this in just a minute so you don't have to sit here and watch it come up to temperature. Okay, we're up to about the 2-minute mark, and I'm going to give this seat a try. And I think it's going to go on me, so I'm going to take this off. This one had a stint in it, so this fiberglass rod, so actually the whole stint came out with the seat, which is just fine. And then if you notice, the front hood remains in the cork. So before that cools off too much, you take a needle nose pliers, and that one's not coming out quite yet, so I'm going to put it back in. I'm not saving this seat, so it doesn't really matter to me. But you'll see here, the way these stints mount, because this fiberglass blank is larger on the end, I couldn't fit this seat normally. So I included the stint, and the epoxy on that stint gave way. If we wanted to take the seat off, we could just hold onto that stint and boil the seat off it, and that would work just fine too. Let's see if that inserts. There we go. So that pops off, and the cork is perfectly intact. We just have to let that kind of dry out and cool down, and we're all set to install another reel seat. If you have a reel seat, you know, there's a range of them that will fit that inlet if you have a way to measure it. If you need a reel seat, we have a number of seats on our website. You can check them out: uplocking, downlocking, modern and vintage seats. And if you have any questions along the way about fitting a seat to a particular rod, feel free to send us an email or give us a call. All right, thanks for watching.